holiday time for many Europeans. In these times of financial crisis, the number of people choosing to take the plane has dropped. But long-term forecasts are on course, with the aviation sector expected to grow steadily in the next 20 to 30 years. How are European airports dealing with the challenge of growth? We start our journey in Belgium's South Charleroi Airport. It is among the growing number of regional airports that have experienced massive growth with the advent of low-cost carriers. Located just 40 kilometers south of the capital, Charleroi recently extended its capacity by building an extra terminal. Plans for an express rail link to the center of Brussels are underway, but what's the situation like in the rest of Europe?
We estimated that by this time, so by 2030, between 11% to 25% of passenger demand will not be accommodated. That means that by 2030, it will be on an annual basis more than 160 million people who will not be able to fly.
That's where regional airports come in.
Regional airports are certainly very important. It's been the most dynamic segment in the airport sector over the last 10 years. I mean, look at an airport like this, 200,000 passengers 10 years ago, now reaching nearly 3 million this year. So a very impressive development. They have created new demand, allowing passengers who did not fly to fly, offering alternatives to hub routes, so to indirect routes. So clearly there's a role for regional airports as relievers vis-à-vis congested airports.
But developing regional airports is only one part of the solution. Main hubs are also having to expand, and that can't be done too close to the city centre.
It's clear that the closer an airport is from the city centre, the more its impact will be on environment and the everyday life of the people living there. So we've seen steps by some airports to relocate outside the cities. We are seeing Berlin airports closing 2 of its airports located very close to the city centre to reopen a brand new one outside. But that means we need also to connect those airports to the city centre. So we need there good access infrastructure, which is also a very difficult issue to get sometimes.
Here in the German capital Berlin, work is underway to completely transform the city's airport infrastructure. More than 1,500 people are involved in the €2.2 billion project. It's the largest building site in Europe. Berlin had 3 airports until last October, when the historic Tempelhof hub was closed. The new Berlin-Brandenburg International Airport is in effect an extension of Schönefeld Airport, currently used mainly by low-cost airlines. The new international hub's opening in 2011 will signal the end for Schönefeld and Berlin's other airport, Tegel. Going from 3 smaller airports to 1 large hub, that's the choice of German authorities. A high-speed train will link the airport to the city centre in less than 20 minutes. The construction of a brand new airport is a rare sight in Europe, where boosting the capacity of an airport is a challenge in itself.
We've seen that for the last 5 to 10 years. Increasing the capacity on the sky has been a top priority for the European Union with a project like the Single European Sky. But at the same time, the European Union has done nothing to address the issue of airport capacity, so capacity on the ground. So basically we have an imbalance that is becoming unsustainable, because you can do whatever you want to increase capacity in the sky. If ultimately you don't get matching capacity on the ground, you haven't solved anything.
Airport operators are calling for more coordination at a European level, as outlined in the Single European Sky 2 package aimed at dealing with the massive increase in demand for air transport. However, airport development is still the responsibility of national governments, and therefore it's up to state and local authorities to deal with it. Our journey continues to Lisbon, where a different kind of solution has been found to deal with growing air traffic. The existing airport, Portela, is a favourite among aviation fans, providing a breathtaking panoramic view of the Portuguese capital. But that comes at a huge cost for those living nearby.
Portela Airport is located at the heart of Lisbon. It's surrounded by houses, hospitals and schools. The physical capacity for expansion is practically nil. Any development can only occur within the perimeter of the airport itself.
Tudo aquilo que pode ser feito tem que ser feito dentro do perímetro atual do aeroporto. Estamos a desenvolver uma série de trabalhos de expansão deste aeroporto.
We're carrying out necessary work on the airport, a comprehensive plan which will enable us to handle a maximum capacity of 40 movements per hour and to adapt the various airport systems to match this limit.
Em torno desse limite dos 40 movimentos por hora.
So after several years of discussions and political debate, a solution has been found for Lisbon. A brand new airport is going to be built in a completely new location, out of town, on what is currently a military base. The long Vasco da Gama bridge we're driving over is on the main road that will serve the new airport, along with the Lisbon-Madrid high-speed rail service due to start operating in 5 years' time. The Portuguese government is also planning to privatize the national airport operator, the ANA. When the airport opens in 2017, it should be able to accommodate up to 22 million passengers a year, and that could double by 2050. The only condition for this ambitious €3.3 billion project to go ahead was to have enough space, and there's plenty of that on the new Alcochete site. But there are also some environmental concerns that need to be taken into account.
In many airports, the capacity is dictated by environmental constraints. So the challenge for the airports is showing that they do everything they can to address the environmental issues and therefore earning their license to grow.
As it is a restricted military area limited to shooting exercises, the Alcochete site is environmentally intact. The new airport itself will cover some 2,400 hectares. An even larger space has been earmarked for commercial projects like shopping malls and offices that will be known as Airport City. A third part of the site will be included in the national park of the Tagus River, which the new airport will border. An environmental impact study has been commissioned for the start of 2009. Finding the right balance between economic growth and respect for the environment is the major challenge facing man as his travel needs grow. This hawk, trained to chase other birds away from the airspace so they don't get caught in plane engines, shows how sometimes ancient methods and progress can work side by side.